And we'll go on to new business. Item number 1 is consideration and approval of the Cypress Valley Navigation District 2024 through 2025 annual contract and authorization of payment in the amount allotted in FY 24-25 budget. You guys have had a chance to review the contract. Any questions, concerns? Commissioner Ebarb, I know you mentioned to me on it's paragraph number 2, it's actually the third paragraph, but the Roman numeral 2, it indicates that the county is paying Cypress Valley Navigation District $100,000 per year. And you brought that to my attention, and I'd like to strike that per year amount from this agreement. And I'll make this my motion, that we approve this payment for 24-25 for $100,000, but remove the per year language. Typically, we pay Cypress Valley Navigation District $15,000 a year. I think it's something like that. Does that seem right? Ms. Graff?
But I know this year when we talked, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Last year, we increased that because there was a need for improvement of the boat road markers. And so we increased it to $100,000, but this language kind of implies that it's going to be, we're going to do it every year, and that's not the case. So that would be my motion to approve this and remove the wording per year from paragraph 2.
I second that with the corrections.
We have a motion by Sims, a second by Commissioner Ebarb. Any other questions or comments on approval of the Cypress Valley Navigation District payment? You know, Mr. Meisenheimer, would you like to talk to, I know you know what's going on with this, you're on that board, the Cypress Valley Navigation District Board, and you had mentioned to me a while back that have y'all begun work and you've identified some,
Yeah.
won't you come on up here if you don't mind? Y'all had identified some boat road markers that needed replacing. I guess I'd like for the court to hear kind of how y'all are coming on that.
Yeah, we got some of our board members went out on the lake and they did some mapping, so they've, identified a number of channel markers that need to be replaced. And we've got 26 channel poles on hand we've got stored down at the Wildlife Refuge. So they've been there for a while, but they're really good, they're new, they're good poles. So we've got it mapped, we got them marked, and now we're in the process of reaching out to 2 different contractors, to get some prices nailed down to get started on that. And of course, we'll have to wait till the water goes down a little bit too before they can start that project.
Sure, I guess I can get that going. Maybe it's good timing, because it'll be going down this summer.
Yeah, and we got quite a few that need to be replaced. We had a boat wreck on Big Lake weekend before last, and we had another boat wreck on the downstream end of Kearney Canal this past weekend. And so, that's not necessarily due to the boat roads, but the better you have it marked. And this boat wreck over the weekend was at nighttime too. It's dark, so that's a real problem if you don't have some reflective markers out there.
Yeah. Well, as y'all are making progress, if you make some substantial progress, let us know and we'll add you to the agenda, and so you can update us on kind of how y'all are coming.
Yes, sir. Will do.
Very good. Thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, our motion passes 4-0. Item number, you know what? I'd like us to skip to number 3, just so we do these kind of in proper order. Number 3 is consideration and action subject to ratification in open court, the approval of the discretionary exemption of the purchase by Harrison County for approximately 22.428 acres of the Marshall Nursing Home subdivision for approximately $54,878. So because it's over $50,000, we have to do a discretionary exemption. That means the court has to approve this exemption because we're going over $50,000. You can correct me if I'm wrong or not saying something right, Ms. Haynes.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So I'm asking the court to approve this discretionary exemption to purchase some property over $50,000. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Timmons, second by Commissioner Coos. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, our motion passes 4-0. Now we're gonna go back up to number 2. This is consideration and action subject to ratification in open court, the approval of the contract between Harrison County and Triple R Management LLC for the purchase by Harrison County of approximately 22.428 acres of the Marshall Nursing Home subdivision, with said purchase of 22.428 acres being $49,000 with closing cost in the amount of $5,878 for a total purchase price of approximately $54,878. Just a little history on this. This 22 acres is immediately south of the airport. If you know where that Heritage House nursing home is, that they had originally bought all this land. It's probably 30 acres or so, and it just ran. But they were interested in the road frontage. It runs all up behind our airport. This will add to our airport space, so as hopefully one day, it's not gonna be our court probably, but some court will appreciate that we bought that extra land, as the runway is intended to be extended south and would require more land that we'd have control over. Otherwise, similar to the north, this is on the south end of the runway, the northern part of it. As people's trees grow up into our protected zone, we have to go and ask permission to cut their trees. It'd be better if we owned the property, so that's what we're trying to do here on the south end, and we're talking about 22 acres for $54,000. It's just over or about $2,500 per acre. I'm not doing the quick. I don't have a calculator handy, but not a terrible price at all for this property, and we're getting it secured before the highway comes in, the new I-369 loop and all that. So it's nice to get this secured and done. I am working on another little piece of property, just so you guys know. At the north end, it's 3 acres that's in the subdivision as well. Item number 2, is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Timmons, second by Commissioner Coos. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, our motion passes 4-0. Number 4, along the same lines, consideration and action subject to ratification in open court, the approval of the payment of $500 as earnest money for the fee to the escrow agent, Central Title Escrow, regarding the purchase by Harrison County of approximately 22.428 acres of the Marshall Nursing Home subdivision. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Timmons. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 4-0. Item number 5, this is consideration and action regarding the approval of the appointment of Commissioner Zephaniah Timmons in Precinct 2 to serve on the steering committee composed of officials and community leaders to help ensure the sustainability of the Marshall Depot and Amtrak station into the future. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Ebar, second by Commissioner Coos. Commissioner Timmons, I appreciate you serving on that. I know that board's eager to make sure that the depot is taken care of and funded properly, so that it doesn't fall into disrepair as things can do. So thank you for serving on that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 4-0. Item number 6 is consideration and action to rescind the order number 2024-462 that approved the interlocal agreement with Harris County on their Tex Warn radio system, and to approve action to review and execute the updated interlocal agreement between Harrison County and the Tex Warn or Harris County, Texas radio system, to establish Harrison County as a partner instead of a user only.
Yes, absolutely. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Lieutenant Mays.
Again, previously, we had already signed an agreement as a user, but they came back and said, hey, they were looking at how we are partnered up with the City of Marshall. They said just because they're listed as a partner doesn't mean y'all can't be too. And it will be to your advantage. It will give us better control of our equipment. It will also, even though it won't affect us, it'll affect what TxDOT pays on our user fees. It will eliminate a lot of the user fees that a user would have to pay that a partner does not have to. So that's the reason we want to rescind the first one and sign this one. It will set us up as a partner rather than user.
That makes sense to me.
Charlene, on that document, there's a notation on there that says, please send signed document to Harris County. Please don't do that. This has to go back through Tex Warren. They have probably 40 or 50 of these projects going on at any time, and there's a Tex Warren representative that has to act, just like we do, they have to present it to the Harris County Commissioners Court. So if we send it directly to them, they're not gonna know which partner it's coming from.
Can we send that to you and you take care of it?
I'll take care of it.
Very good. Any questions for Lieutenant Mays on this change on the text warrant system? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebarb, second by Commissioner Coos. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, our motion passes 4-0. Item number 7 is acknowledgement. Thank you, sir. Acknowledgement of the contract is presented by Donald Robinette, the Elections Administrator between Emergency Service District 1 and Harrison County Elections Office for the purpose of conducting an election to be held May 3rd, 2025 for the adoption of sales and use tax pursuant to the Texas Health and Safety Code, Chapter 775. I understand this was brought to us before, and Mr. Robinette has furnished some information that we're not actually supposed to approve this election. All we can do is acknowledge the contract that he has with the ESD, and honestly, you don't have much control over either, other than making sure the terms are correct and proper.
Sure.
If a taxing entity comes to you and asks for a vote.
Where it would be a little bit different would be if the county were holding an election and it was a joint contract. And so therefore, that would have to go before the court. There was a question in the election code that Mr. Cole pointed out. In one place it said may, in another place it said shall. And so I inquired with the SOS lawyer further on that, and I sent all you guys an email there saying that I was supposed to follow through, that I didn't really have much of a choice. And the clarification on the may and the shall was in the part of the code that says may. It also includes county clerks and tax assessors who in some counties run the elections in addition to their regular jobs. And so in that case, they have a choice. The clerk or the assessor could say, well, no, I don't want to do that. But in cases where it's the county that has an election administrator, the election administrator shall is where the other part came in. And so that was the part that I referred to you guys through email there and so on. Now, if we were holding other elections right now, say if the county had something on the ballot, or if there was another school and we had a joint election of some kind going on, those contracts still would need to come before the court if it involved the county holding an election. So anyway,
Very good.
all right.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. You know, I want to make sure that in the past, in this past election, you know, we weren't the only ESD that actively worked against our election for the county was the ESD 1 on the west side. It wasn't a collaboration of all one or two or three of the 9 but they out of the 9 ESDs actively worked against our sales tax collection. I just didn't want it to appear that all the ESDs in the county were against what we had tried to do, and that's just
In fact, some of them were supportive of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we pretty much met with all of them, and at one time or another, and we had support from the bulk of them. And like like I said, I just want to clarify that it was not a countywide ESD of the all 9 were against, that us collecting it. So that's just something I want to clarify to make sure that we didn't put something out that offended some officer that actually
Yeah.
supported us.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. My sense from the elections office is we try to be extremely professionally neutral. And so, regardless what the issue is, because we can't afford to take sides on anything, but,
No, we understand.
sure. Anyway.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Okay, my question is, if this passes, would that still make them a volunteer, fire department?
That would probably
If
be a
their
legal question.
intentions are to get paid?
That'll be something that they'll have to work through, I would assume, after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, if it were to pass, it would look like to me, it would only be reflective on the businesses that are within those boundaries of that ESD.
That's correct.
And I would say this, I think one of their people said the other day that a lot of the businesses are already paying the 8.25%. It's just, it's sitting there and it's not being claimed by anybody other than the state, but I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I did hear somebody say something to that
And those
effect.
businesses that were in Gregg County are paying 8.25%.
Yeah.
But the businesses that are in Harrison County in a non-collected.
Yeah, they should be paying the
should be.
6 something, yeah.
They're the
so.
6 and a
But I don't
which
know,
is the
I'm not
state.
an authority on that, so, but that was a comment that I heard, but.
Commissioner
anyway,
Timmons, to answer
sure.
your question, we don't know any details of what their plans are. We've heard, but, that'd be up to their board, what they do with those funds, whether they remain volunteer or not.
But it may be like our experience has been at the county, people might look at it and say, hey, we don't want any more new taxes.
That's right.
No matter how good the cause is, I thought the county's cause was very good, and I'm really sad that it didn't pass, expressing my personal opinion, But professionally, we have to remain neutral, so anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Sir. Mr. Mays?
Gentlemen, I'd like to speak to you this morning as a citizen of Harrison County, not necessarily an employee of it. Although briefly I have to refer back to my work. When I first started doing this, one of the things that I found out very quickly doing some statistics on Harrison County is that in a ranking of 254 counties, Harrison County ranks in the low 6% as far as tax income receipts that we receive. That puts us at 239th out of 254 counties. That is way down the ladder. Now, thanks to y'all and a good financial staff, we stay in the black and we run a good county. As I've been involved in it, I've been very proud to learn how well that y'all take care of our financial needs. Department heads do a good job, all of them, and I think it's amazing that with no more income that we have, that we are able to do the things that we do in Harrison County and still do it in the black. But that's not to say that we don't have needs. Because we are so low and don't have a lot of income, our roads are probably some of the worst around. And that's not to knock Luke, because they do everything that they can with the money that they have to do that. This option, as we well know, we've tried to pass it 2 times, and unfortunately, the citizens of Harrison County didn't have the good sense to see the benefit of it. Sometimes people can't see the forest for the trees. But I hope that in the future, we'll try to go it again. Now, I'm just appalled that ESD1 would again try to set something up where they could vote this money in. It's not that they need the money for equipment. If you'll look, they've got some of the best facilities out of any of the ESDs. I would venture to say that they probably have the highest earnings of any of the ESDs simply because of where they are. They're in the western part of the county, and they're in the eastern part of Longview, and they collect from a lot of commercial businesses. So they're more well off than a lot of our other ESDs around the county. If we could use this money to take care of roads in this county, it would do well to help us improve our businesses that we would look attractive to. And that's one of the things that they do. You've got to have your infrastructure, and roads is one of the biggest things. I live on a county road, and I have to access my county road by way of another county road. And bless their hearts, they're not nearly as bad as some in the county, but both of my roads could use reconstructing from one end to the other. But that's not for a lack of want to, it's for a lack of can't because of money. I noticed not one person from SD1 showed up here today. I'm sure they would be embarrassed to be here and see that they're asking to do this. I'm offended that they would ask for it, and I'm going to campaign against it just as hard as I can, just like they campaigned against us. Don't approve of it. I think it's the most greedy, selfish thing I've ever seen. And the fact is they will openly tell you they don't want it for equipment. They want it to pad their pockets. They want to be paid. They've lost sight of what volunteerism is. If they want to be paid, then they need to go to the city of Marshall or the city of Longview and apply to the fire department there. But a volunteer is a volunteer, and I think you raise a good question. If they do that, where does that put them legally as a volunteer fire department? That's a good question. I think it needs to be researched. Robin, I hope that you will take note of this and please do some investigative study on this whole situation, because it's, I think they're doing a great disservice to Harrison County and its citizens to even suggest that they get this money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. Any other questions, comments?
Yes, sir.
There is no action on number 7. It's simply an acknowledgement item only. If there being no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ebarb, second by Commissioner Coos. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It is 10:24 a.m. We're adjourned. Thank you all.